Hi, my name is Jane. We might have met before, but you're about to rediscover a lot more about me. Maybe even more than you bargained for. This whole thing is like a brand new Corvette, still riding along the information superhighway. You put your strong, muscular hands around that controller and make me excited like it's happy feedback, haptic feedback. And I promise to do everything your little heart desires, but only if you check out all the new features and special contents. Just imagine you can watch me kick my sleazeball boss's ass, all in the new Plumber Vision. But if you make the wrong move, you could turn me into a nun yet again. Imagine that, me, a nun? No way. Really, it's all up to you. Who knows what you'll do with that little hot pad of yours? It's got way more buttons than the last time we met. I like a man who knows how to push the right buttons. Point is, life's a game, and this game is all about life. You do right by me, and I guarantee to do right by... Oh, whoa! What the hell are you doing? We're not gonna do this again. You are a sleazebag, and this is not the 90s. Do you think I'm stupid that I don't know what you're... Welcome back to Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Now let me remaster your face.
Plumbers Don't Wear Ties returning is an example of how YouTube culture and memes can manifest themselves into a real thing.
I think the most common question when seeing that Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is coming back is why? Why on earth?
Like, to me, that's almost more enjoyable than getting to release this project. Just knowing that there are people out there thinking, why are they wasting their time doing this?
If you're just purely happy that Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is coming back, I think we need to have a conversation, because you shouldn't just feel happy. You should have questions, and you should be asking those questions. I ask myself questions every day while I'm working on this project, and I will for the rest of my life.
I think the project is very interesting from this perspective of who else would bother remastering the worst game of all time to the level that we are trying to remaster it, in terms of adding all these extras and these exclusives and these, bonus features.
One of my favorite things about Limited Run Games is that it seems that they have this ability to bring back things that shouldn't exist. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Somebody somewhere thought, like, what is the silliest game we could ever think of, like, releasing on modern platforms? And for the longest time, that was probably Night Trap. And, like, what's even sillier than Night Trap is Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, because, that is really hitting the bottom of the barrel.
There's no cash grab in Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. This is actually one of the hardest jobs we could possibly give ourselves, because we now have to give you a reason to buy the worst game ever made.
The whole time I'm thinking to myself, are we really putting this out? Like, who is asking for this?
I think it's really important to kind of recontextualize games that maybe culturally up until this point have only been the butt of a joke. Like, everyone knows Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, but does anyone actually know Plumbers Don't Wear Ties?
How many people really know the bad games or have had a chance to play them? And I feel like, from a historical perspective, somebody needs to be making these historically bad games accessible again, so people can satisfy that curiosity that they have in understanding why these games are so bad.
That's why I really like to see projects like these, is to sort of recontextualize things and put them in a different space than just, haha, this is stupid.
You know, it's funny, it's weird. There's a lot of bad stuff in it, though. You know, there's stuff that hasn't aged very well, and I think people can learn a lot from sort of the bad that is in there, and just making sure that they don't try to replicate it.
I mean, that's why I support publishing it. You know, we're making this game readily available again. And I think we should, because it's important. Remember the bad parts of your history. Just remember them in context. And I think this is a good context to engage this game.
When you go to a museum, not everything there would have been considered high art at the time of its release. We understand this, and Plumbers is certainly not high art, but it's a part of our culture, right? And it represents something that was really unusual for the console space.
Anything that brings us closer to all video games of all history being available, I think is a very noble effort, even when it results in the release of the worst video games.
There's a strong argument for the preservation of the worst games ever made being just as important as the best games ever made.
Sometimes those interesting experimental efforts are more interesting to look back on than something that was, just really good and, hit the ball out of the park right away. The kind of noble, ambitious failures are as interesting to look back on as the successes.
Those games, they can contextualize and tell you a slice of life of when these games came out and what the industry was like when they came out.
Being able to actually look back at it and understand like kind of what they were doing, what our market was like at the time, why does this exist? When you're looking at this as a complete sort of time capsule, I think it becomes a lot more compelling.
I hope that what we're doing with this game can contribute to what its final legacy will be.
I think, like myself, there is a subset of people that find this era of video game history like just fascinating. I gather that those people are the ones that are actually like, okay, I'm kind of curious to see like what the heck are they going to do with this thing?
Most people I think kind of got it. And this made me very happy for the reasons of like game preservation that come to a place where people kind of were like, yeah, this is awesome. It's not just about having these greatest 8-bit games put in a compilation. It's not just about that anymore.
I think the time is ripe for games like this to be reevaluated, and specifically this one, because it is so unusual for, in terms of its content and its structure.
I'm kind of hoping it inspires people to make games that are just as wacky and zany as this. Hopefully not still images, but, get the vibe that this game kind of emits and see if they can try to replicate it with something that they want to make.
So I want to say thank you for supporting an effort to remaster a game that nobody would have ever expected to get a remaster. And your support of projects like these will enable us to do more things like this in the future and remaster more games that are unexpected, forgotten, but historically significant to some level. Games that other people might not touch because they're bad or they're not games that have this huge, wide amount of appeal. And I really appreciate people who will support endeavors like that.
Hi, my name is Jane. We hardly know each other, but that's about to change. You're going to get to know a lot about me, maybe even more than you imagined. This whole thing's kind of like a blind date. I mean, here we are in your brand new Corvette, riding along the super information highway. Put your big, muscular arm around me and whisper sweet things in my ear. And I promise to do whatever your heart desires, but only if you make the right moves. Just imagine watching me get propositioned by my sleazeball boss. Why, you could even make me strip for him. But if you make the wrong moves, you could turn me into a nun. Imagine that. Me? A nun? Ha! I don't think so. But it's really all up to you. God knows what you'll do with that hot little mouse of yours. Point is, life's a game, and this game is full of life. You do right by me, and I guarantee I'll do right by you. But please don't turn me into a nun. I'm not that kind of girl. I've got a reputation. Around town, I'm known as Microwave Jane, because they say I heat up faster than any micro. And when the fire chief visited, he wrote up a new code and made me wear a smoke alarm between my thighs. And then the Coast Guard complained that I was creating tsunamis in my waterbed. And then the Pope visited and said I was the only person on Earth that had been on my knees more times than he had. Now the president's filed a restraining order claiming I have a romantic interest in the Washington Monument. Oh, you men can be so vicious. Look at me. Just look at me. Do I look like that type of girl? Well, if you think I'm that type of girl, you got another thing coming, mister. Because I don't do one-night stands, I don't date musicians, and I don't roll over just because you bought in this game. Fair warning, I'll be resisting your every move and enjoying your every mistake. I trust it won't be the first time you made mistakes with the opposite sex. Now listen up, the rules of the game are real simple. You see, I meet this guy in a parking lot. Now you are supposed to identify with this guy. I mean, you in your own perverse, simple-minded way are supposed to be him. Got it? Now, if you make the right moves, I end up with this schlep. That is, I end up with you. But if you get real lucky, you end up saving me from the bad guy. You become my hero. And as the hero's reward, guess what? You get to take me home and have your own degenerate little way with me. Of course, if you make the wrong move, you may just end up playing with your little mouse the rest of the night. It's all up to you. Are you game? Then come with me and you'll soon discover why plumbers never wear ties when I'm around.
Don't keep me in suspense. Give me the full story.
Whoa, deja vu. I've seen this.
Don't keep me in suspense. Give me the full story.
Whoa, deja vu. I've seen this already. First decision, please.
Don't keep me in suspense. Give me the full story.
Yeah, it's me. Leave your message at the beep and I'll come back to you.
It's your mother. Now get your ass out of bed. I know you're there, John. John? I said get up, John. John, if you don't pick up this phone, I'll be in your face in 5 minutes.
Yeah, Ma.
What are you wearing today?
My birthday suit.
Very funny. I want you to wear that nice tie I bought for you.
The polka dot tie? Get out of here. That sucks.
What did you say?
It's seersucker. I hate seersucker.
Polka dots are not seersucker. Just wear it. It'll make a good impression.
On who? The rats? Ma, I'm a plumber. Remember?
Just do it for your mother.
Ma.
John.
Yeah, okay. Okay, whatever you
now,
want.
Now, what have you done with Amy?
I got her boiling in garlic oil.
Don't get smart with me. Why haven't you asked her out?
Ma, I think it's pretty obvious.
What did you say?
I said she's pretty, but it's obvious I haven't had time.
Well, you better make time, mister. You two are perfect together. She'll make a nice little homemaker. Mark my words, it's a match made in heaven.
I think I'll wait till I get there.
Stop smart-mouthing with me, young man. Why is it I haven't seen you with any woman? Why is that, John? Don't you like women anymore? John, are you gay?
No, Ma. I'm not gay.
Thank heaven. Then what is it with you? Why haven't I met any of your girlfriends?
None are right for you, Ma.
You mean of all the women out there, you can't find even one to marry?
One's easy. I was going to marry 3 at the same time. Cheaper in the long run. Figure at least one will last me a lifetime. It's like the warranty they give you when you buy a water faucet.
Cut the crap and listen to me. It's time you got married. You need children. I need grandchildren. I need my only child to bear fruit. And in my lifetime, don't you love your mother?
Ma, just drop it, okay?
No, I won't. Amy's perfect for you. Poor thing's just waiting for you, John.
She's not my type.
And what is your type? Some biker slut? You hate me. Don't you? You hate my guts. Well, don't you? Go on, admit
Ma,
it.
it's just...
I'm sick and tired of your excuses. Now, I'm having Amy over for dinner tonight, and I want you there.
Well, I'm busy.
You be there at 6 sharp, mister.
Ma, you're making me late for work. Love you.
You
Bye.
hear me, John? I said 6 sharp.
Bye.
I'm expecting you.
Jane? Jane? You there, Jane?
Hello, Daddy.
Where are you, Jane?
You called me, Daddy. Don't you know where I'm at?
How the hell am I supposed to know that? Now, where the hell are you?
I'm home, Daddy.
What the hell are you doing home?
Earth to Daddy. Come in, please.
Why the hell aren't you married yet, Jane? In that last scene, that bitch of a mother told her son to have kids. Now I'm telling you, I want some too. Your clocks are ticking. Now, why the hell haven't you been productive?
I haven't had time, Daddy.
For Christ's sake, girl, how long does it take these days? You ain't that busy. Now, damn it, Jane, you get on the stick and make some babies for your poor old father before he dies. Honey, why don't you come down to the lodge with me Friday night?
The lodge? Those guys are all geeks and dorks.
Yeah, well, maybe they're geeks and dorks, but they can make babies in less time than it takes you to put on shoes.
That's just the problem. Daddy, I gotta get to my new job.
New job? What happened to the last one?
Oh, all the guys kept hitting on me.
What? Did you hit him back? You should have hit him back. Who the hell were they? No one hit my daughter.
It's okay, Daddy, it's okay. It didn't hurt. Love you. Have a nice day, Daddy-o.
Wait till I get my hands on him. I'll kill him.
It's 8 o'clock and I'm seeing a 10. What I wouldn't give to do her plumbing.
Whoa, I'd call that better living through chemistry. This is Harry Armis. Welcome aboard. Please extinguish all smoking materials during this story, because it's going to get hot enough as it is. And fasten your seatbelts, because I'm about to turn this story over to you. Your assignment, should you accept it, is to get these two lovebirds together. You know how difficult it is in real life. One wrong move, and you're sitting home on a Saturday night. One wrong move here, and the consequences for these lovers could be dire and unexpected. Fair warning, sport. Go ahead, make their day, and your choice. But you better make it damn good. Remember, we're keeping score.
So, who do you want to make the first move? If you want John to do it, hit A now.
Jane may be Daddy's girl, but she's no slouch when it comes to getting what she wants. Besides, John's really a wimp. Jane makes a move on him before he can count to 10. Watch out, John.
These two aren't ready to meet each other yet. Have them do it later on. So, who do you want to make the first move?
Hi, my name's John. I'd like to make you, meet you.
At least he speaks his mind. Hi, I'm Jane. God, he's cute. Great smile.
Jane? John and Jane. Corny. I guess I could change my name to Tarzan.
You know what? I really have to go, but it was nice meeting you, John.
Wait. What are you doing later? For lunch? Can I buy you lunch?
I can't seem too eager. Let's see how he handles rejection. I don't think so.
Wait. How about dinner? A weekend in Paris? 5 minutes of conversation. I promise I'll be good.
Hey, sport. Harry again. John made the first move just like you wanted him to, and look what happened. She's slipping from his grasp. We know she'd like to meet him. She knows she'd like to meet him. But does John know she'd like to meet him? What's a guy to do? It's up to you, sport.
John throws caution to the wind and pursues Jane. Be careful!
Do girls actually like guys who are really aggressive? I don't think so. Have John wait later on.
John throws caution to the wind and pursues Jane. Be careful!
Do girls?
What a smile! What a bod! She's perfect! A 15. You jerk. You should have gone after her. She was just playing hard to get. What if you never see her again? I know. I'll put a note and my number on her windshield. Nah, she's not gonna buy that. She gets hit on every day. Damn! I should have gone after her. Now I'll never see her again. Shoot, I gotta get to work. No, damn it, I can't. This is more important than work. I'll just wait here for her. Nah, she'll think I'm a jerk. But who cares? God, I hate rejection. She's worth the risk. I can't miss out on this. We're too perfect together.
Your qualifications are outstanding. Your recommendations superb. And yes, I know I promised you a job, but what happened was completely out of my control. Your position was canceled just an hour ago. I'm sure you'll find another job soon.
But Mr. Thrasher, I came all the way from El Monte. I was looking forward to this job so much. And I do love downtown LA. I mean, I don't like the muggers or the dirt or the slums only 2 blocks away, or the trash or the homeless or the poverty or the crime or the potholes, or every other person asking for a handout, but I really do love L.A.
There. Please, call me Mark.
Oh, God, this is the most humiliating experience of my entire life.
Oh, don't worry, Jane. If you're looking for work, you'll have lots of humiliating experiences.
Oh, but isn't there something here for me? I know, I'll start in the mailroom. I'll empty trash. Can I clean up offices? I'll even make coffee. I can work my way up the organization. I just need someone to give me a chance, please. Mr. Thresher, I don't have a lot of money. I was counting on this job, praying for this. Oh, God. Mark, I'm desperate.
Life isn't that harsh. Give Jane something to hope for.
What?
Note, you must be 18 or over to take a look at this decision.
Poor Jane. She got turned away.
Life isn't that harsh. Give Jane something to hope for. Note, you must be 18 or over to take a look at this decision.
You know, we get at least 200 qualified applicants for each position here. And without exception, every single solitary applicant is desperate. Do you hear me? Desperate. Do you think I can't see through all this corny melodrama of yours? Do you think that I'm an idiot? You're acting. All of you applicants are acting. You're acting like you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. I hate people looking for work. You're all filthy slime. You're part of that seething, oozing mass of unemployment. Just look at you. You waltz in here with your perky little face and your bouncy little breasts, and you think you can walk out with a job. Well, I'm going to kick that sweet little butt of yours out on the street. You and your sniveling little suburban education. You think you can just go into your crying act and get a job anytime you want. I'll bet you're a daddy's girl, aren't you? Aren't you? Used to getting whatever you want whenever you want it. All you have to do is start bawling your little head off, and Daddy gives you whatever you want. Well, things are different in the real world.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Thresher.
Jobs are for those who are worthy. Jobs are precious and few. As you've just discovered, perhaps this will be a lesson for you, young lady. Perhaps you'll take your next job seriously, if you can get another job. You pea-brained preppy, you vain Volvo-driving vulva. Have you ever thought of the employer's point of view? Huh? The guy who pays half your Social Security? Who do you think pays your dental and your health insurance? Santa Claus? And who do you think pays through the nose on workman's comp when you fake an injury? Do you think jobs grow on trees? Who do you think creates jobs? You don't give a...
I'm going after that guy in the parking lot. I'm going to get my little hooks in him, and I'm going to reel him in, and I'm going to marry him. I really do hate working. Daddy's right. My clock is ticking. It is time. I don't care if he is a biker. So what if he looks like James Dean? James Dean? My God, he is a rebel, not a geek. Oh, a rebel. I love rebels. I just hope he doesn't have a cause. I hate men with causes. They're such lousy lovers. Oh, I don't care if he does have a cause. I'm desperate. I don't even care if he doesn't have money. The poor thing, he's not a geek or a dork. God, I hate geeks and dorks. I'll do anything not to marry a geek or a dork. I'll even marry a biker. I don't give a damn about Daddy. He hates rebels and bikers. Oh, please be there. Wait! Who are you? I don't even know your last name. Where can I find you? Damn you! Do you know how many Johns there are in L.A.? Oh, no, he's gone. I blew it. I'll never see him again. Who picked this story? Damn you! I'll never forgive you. Now I'll be miserable for the rest of my life, thanks to you.
Too bad, but hey, she wouldn't go for a guy like me anyway. Too classy. She wants some executive in a Mercedes, not a plumber on a bike. She's looking for someone who wears a tie every day. Just my luck with women. We could have been perfect together.
Yeah, they could have been perfect together. But thanks to you, that won't happen. Hope you never have to write stories for a living. John has you to thank for his unlucky love life. And Jane would kill to get her hands on you. You screwed up, but hey, it wouldn't be the first time you screwed up a relationship, right? You want another chance? Bring your score up some so it won't seem like you're brain dead when it comes to this boy-girl thing?
Well, that was a smart choice. Want to try again? Life isn't that harsh.
Poor Jane. She got...
Life isn't that harsh. Give Jane something to... Note, you must be 18 or over to take a look at this decision. Life isn't...
Well now, perhaps something can be worked out after all.
You don't mean it.
As a matter of fact, I've been wanting a personal secretary for some time. Would you be interested in that position?
Oh, yes, Mr. Thresher.
Of course, it's a full-time job, not just for the summer. You'd have to quit college.
But I would...
Of course, we do have a tuition support plan so that you can complete your degree at night.
Oh, that'll work out just fine. Thank you, Mr. Thresher.
Of course, you won't have much time for night school. You'll be traveling a lot on this job.
Oh, I love to travel.
I was hoping you'd say that. You'll be traveling with me, of course.
With you?
Is that a problem?
Well, I mean that...
Strictly business, Jay. No hanky-panky on this job. Don't you worry. I just want to show you the ropes.
Oh, thank God. For a moment there, I thought you were one of those kinky, perverted bosses who got his kicks from exploiting his employees. I'm so relieved to hear you're not one of those.
Oh, you have a wild imagination, Jane. I like subordinates who can fantasize.
Ooh, I have all kinds of fantasies.
Well, we'll get into that later. So what do you say?
Well, okay, boss. It sounds just great. I'd love to learn all about the ropes. Thank you, Mr. Thresher.
Oh, you're welcome. And please, call me Mark.
Sure thing, Mark. I just love to be your personal secretary.
Will $40,000 be adequate?
40,000!
I thought so. Now, your first assignment starts today. I'll be spending the weekend at my luxurious bachelor pad in Pacoima, and I'm leaving at 4.
Yes? What would you like me to do? Make coffee?
Oh, no. I want you to be back here at 4, packed and ready to go.
Oh, my goodness. Then it is real. I got the job, Mr. Thresher. Mark, how can I ever thank you?
Please, don't worry about thanking me. I just want us to work as closely together as the dear Lord will permit. See you at 4.
Oh, yes, sir. And thank you, sir. I'm so glad you're a religious man. Are you in the ministry?
No, but your visit has made me think about starting one.
Oh, I'm so glad I inspired you.
Yes, you are a very exciting, inspiring young lady.
Oh, thank you, sir. We'll see you at 4.
Yes, I'll see you at 4.
Jane, I had to wait for you. I couldn't leave things to fate or that stupid person controlling the story. I've been thinking about you all day. I know it sounds crazy, but I love you. I love everything about you. I love you like I've never loved anyone in my life. You've got to...
Don't touch me, you hormone. I'm earning $40,000 a year. I'm a professional now.
Well, that ends their romance and your story. Jane ends up with the wrong man, and John's eating asphalt? Some matchmaker you turned out to be. Wait till you see your score after this. Why not give the girl a fighting chance? She was young and stupid in that scene. Did you really think he was going to offer her a job? Come on, take a closer look at this guy. He's pure sleaze. I tell you what, I'll give you one more chance to get these lovebirds together. I hope you're luckier with your own love life than you have been with this story.
Want to try again? Hit the A button now. Want to try again? Hit the A button now.
Don't keep me in suspense.
Whoa, Deja. So, who do you want to make the first move?
Jane, maybe.
My name's Jane.
Hi, John.
We've got to stop meeting like this, baby.
Better than a singles bar. At least we can hear each other. You are single.
Yes, very. Unfortunately, I'm in a rush. First day at a new job. Here's my number. Call me sometime.
I'll call you. I'll call you tonight. How's tonight? Can I call you tonight?
You can call me anytime. Like I said, you can call me anything. I mean, anytime. And if you want anything, all you have to do is ask.
What a smile. What a body. What a kiss. She's a 15. No, a 20. She's a damn 1,000. And I got her number. I can't believe it. Well, I didn't exactly get it. She gave it to me. How could she give me her number? She doesn't even know me. She's a slut. I could be an axe murderer. I don't care if she's aggressive and bold. She probably just uses men for her own selfish, perverted purposes. She's probably afraid of a commitment. Probably never had a real relationship. She won't give a damn if I don't have an orgasm. Selfish bitch. She'll just use me. God, I don't believe it. We're perfect together. Wait a minute. Something's wrong. The area code. Which area code? What the frig area code is it? LA's got at least a dozen. I know. Simple, I'll just make a dozen calls. You jerk. She gave you a phony number. That's why she was so easy. Too easy. God, I love it. She's much worse than I thought. Damn, I should have gone after her. What if I never see her again? I know. I'll put a note with my number on her windshield. Nah, she won't buy it. A beauty like that gets hit on all the time. Damn, if she doesn't call, I'll die. Man, I gotta get to work. No, this is more important than work. God, I have to wait for her. I know. I'll play with her rearview mirror till she comes back. I just gotta see her again. Hi.
Hi there.
Hey, sport, how you doing? Guess who? It's Harry, your buddy. I knew I could count on you to screw up the story. Way to go. We got their adrenaline flowing, pumped up their interest, and you just let them walk away? You really bit off on that romantic sunset choice, didn't you? What a wimp. Hope you don't wait for romantic settings to meet someone. Let this be a lesson to you. Wait. You may be saved. John's having second thoughts. Let's listen in.
Oh, man. I blew it. It wasn't her, it's me. I gotta get some balls when it comes to meeting chicks. Maybe if my skin were a different color. Chicks don't like white guys anymore. They think we're too straight. Anglo's got no rhythm. If only I were someone else.
I'm not his type. Damn, those bikers are looking for someone kinky. Maybe I should look more kinky. Nah, he's not for me. I just want to meet some nice guy. Maybe if I were small-breasted and just normal.
Hey, babe. Looking for some action?
What do you got in mind, cowboy?
Oh, maybe go to my place. You know, hang out, have a beer, get laid. You know.
Get laid? You're gonna need some help in that department.
What do you mean, help? You saying I ain't man enough for you? I'm just your size.
You won't be after this.
Ooh.
All I want is a normal guy. Maybe it is time I settled down. I just want a normal life, you know, nothing special. Just a small house in the suburbs with lots of friends, a shaggy dog, a white Jeep station wagon, maybe a bit part at the local playhouse every now and then, canasta on Saturday afternoons with the neighborhood wives, maybe an affair with the meter man. If only I could meet the right guy.
Are you my love? The one I've waited all my life for?
Yes, yes, my darling. Hey, don't touch my hair.
I don't give a damn about your hair, lover boy. You don't know how long I've waited for someone like you. I have to know everything about you.
Well, I graduated summa cum laude from USC in business. I work for Schleim & Schleim as a broker. I drive a black Beamer, own a condo in Encino, and make over $200,000 a year. Hey, I got $250,000 in the bank. I just got a hair implant. You like it? I vacation in Cannes every summer. You think I need a nose job? And I date at least one new woman a month. Guess what? You're Miss July.
Oh, God, I thought you were different because you rode a motorcycle.
It's not mine. I was just sitting on it.
You could take your damn nose job and shove it.
Maybe if I were blonde. Yeah, like more Scandinavian looking. Girls go for that. Yeah, maybe that's it.
If only I were more exotic looking.
Wait a minute. Wait up. I don't know. Call me crazy, but all of a sudden I feel like a different man. And you've changed too. I'm in love with you now. You're so erotic. I love you, you Amazon.
What? Are you crazy? I haven't changed one bit.
No, there's something different about you now.
Yeah, there's something different. I'm getting angry. What kind of a come-on is this anyway? Get out of here, you preppy. I want a real man.
Wait a minute. Just because I cook souffles doesn't mean I can't.
Can't what?
I'm a real man. I'm also caring and sensitive. I love the arts, theater, children, grandparents, and chocolate chip cookies.
You are so worried about your self-image. I bet you can't even get it up.
Can't so.
I doubt it.
I can get it up.
Can't.
You bull-like bitch. You women just love to put down wimps. I mean men, don't you? Admit it. It's become a national pastime for you women. Hasn't it? Hasn't it? I hate women like you. I'll kill you for this.
White men can't use knives.
Hey, champ. Feeling down at this point? Huh? The storyline even gave you extra characters to fool around with. And you still couldn't get the two lovebirds together. What is it with you, anyway? You skipped breakfast this morning? You want another chance? Well, I suppose. Now put your tail between your legs and go back to the original choices. And do the right thing.
All right. I promise to do the right thing this time. Just give me another chance, okay?
So, who these two are?
Wait.
You got in my...
All right. I promise to do the right thing this time. All right. I promise to do the right thing this time.
So, who?
John throws caution to the wind and pursues Jane. Be careful.
I can't let this beauty slip through my fingers.
Flowers and leather? This guy's different. Interesting.
To the most beautiful woman I've ever met.
You're a charmer. Thank you. They're beautiful.
No, you're beautiful. Come on, just lunch, please.
You know what? I'd love to, but today's my first day on the job, and I don't even know when my lunch break is.
She's weakening. Flowers are magic. Simple, I'll just wait for you. Here in the parking lot.
You're crazy.
About you? Yes. Just give me a chance, please.
He's persistent. I like that. Great looking bod, too. Give me your work number and I'll call you about lunch.
Today's not a good day.
Why? What do you do?
Uh-oh, she's trolling for financial data already. Damn, I know, I'll just lie. I'm a rep, a representative.
Oh, an account rep. My new boss is some kind of an account rep. Maybe you know him. Mark Thresher?
Oh, yeah, Mark. Mark Thresher, sure, he rings a bell. I probably had a drink with him at one of the exclusive account rep clubs around here.
Oh my goodness, maybe you two work in the same office. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, no, different offices.
How do you know?
Well, you see, I'm an independent. I work my own account rep territory. I got my own office.
Your own office? You must be very successful.
Oh, I do all right.
I'm really late. I'll tell you what. Why don't you give me your home number and I'll call you there, okay?
Oh, yeah, that would be better. Today's a killer. I got meetings scheduled every hour. Lots of clients. Big clients. Big deals today. Lots of big deals. Tonight, call me tonight.
Okay, I'll call you tonight.
When?
How about 8?
You're perfect. Perfect timing.
Now, please, I gotta go.
I'll be waiting for your call. I won't eat till I hear from you. You won't let me starve to death, will you? I'm too young to die. What a smile. What a bod. She's perfect. We're perfect together. I know we are. I gotta go check my horoscope. What if she doesn't call? What if she loses the number? I'll never see her again. I know. I'll put my number on her windshield, just in case. God, what if it blows away? What if someone takes it? Damn. Now I'm late for work. I can't go to work. This is too important. I'll call in lovesick. I just can't lose her.
Life isn't that hard.
Poor Jane.
Note, you must be 18 or over to take a...
Poor.
Life isn't that hard.
Poor Jane.
Life isn't that harsh.
Poor Jane. She got turned.
Note, you must be 18...
Poor Jane.
Note, you must be 18 or over to take a look at... Life isn't that harsh. Give Jane something to hope for.
Poor Jane. She...
Well, that was a smart choice. Life isn't that harsh. Want to try life?
Perhaps something can be worked out after all.
Yes?
Take your clothes off, Jane.
I beg your pardon?
We get at least 200 qualified applicants for every position here. It's those people who do that little extra thing. They're the ones who get ahead.
Take my clothes off? You can't be serious.
I'm not whistling Dixie, Jane. Now, if you're serious about this job, you'll follow my first directive and remove your clothing.
Here? Now?
Read my lips.
No one told me about this part of the interview. I remember when I was just a little girl and I got lost in the park and I felt so alone. I couldn't find my daddy. He was nowhere around. No one was around. I just sat down and bawled my little head off until...
Take your damn clothes off!
Now see how your sick curiosity led Jane into this mess? What kind of perverted monster are you?
Jane says no to this disgusting proposal.
You promise I'll get the job if I do this one thing, Mr. Thresher?
This little gesture will prove you're a team player, Jane. You have my word you'll get the job.
Well, I guess it'll be all right this one time, won't it?
Of course it will. You'll be very happy here working under me.
Well, okay then.
Why don't you get comfortable? Take a seat in that other chair. Now that's better. That's the spirit. I knew you could do it. Hope you don't mind being videotaped.
Oh, Mr. Thresher, Mark, I don't mind if you don't.
Ugh!
Show this tape to your wife, you animal!
You think I'm an idiot? You think you can waltz in here with that perky little face and those bouncy little breasts of yours and you get whatever you want? I'm gonna teach you a lesson you'll never forget. You little bitch, no one does that to me.
Run, Jane, run!
A damsel in distress? Chased by a killer wielding a letter opener? Well, sport, do you think you can handle this choice without getting the lowest score in the history of this game? Who the hell are you?
I'm taking over this story.
Over my dead body? Take that! You're not taking over the story!
No, it's mine!
It's my story!
Fine,
Damn it!
I'm taking it over!
Give it to me!
No, it's mine! Phew! Finally got rid of that obnoxious character. And that horrible music. Name's Thelma. I'm what's known as a takeover artist, wanted in 30 states for hijacking fiction. Probably seen my face at the post office for terrorizing those Book of the Month Club romance novels. Now, if this is the first time you've had a story hijacked, well, buckle up, 'cause I'm in charge. Now, let's review the story up to this point. I'll just look at the choices you've made so far. Yes. I see. Well, what happened there? I don't see how you... How could you do that? I don't believe it. How could you make such choices? Were you raised in a barn? These are the most disgusting series of plot choices I have ever seen. Well, let me look at your score. You deserve every minus what you have gotten, and even more. You will hear from me again at the next choice.
Run, Jane, run. Run. John's not going to resort to violence. It's not politically correct these days. Choose this decision if you think he's man enough to try something else. Run, Jane, run. Run, John, run. John's not going to resort to violence. It's not politically correct these days. Choose this decision if you think he's man enough to try something else.
Help me, help!
Run, Jane, run! Stop right there, mister.
Let her go. She's nothing but trouble. What a gorgeous tie. From your mother?
Yeah, how did you know?
Only a mother could give a son a tie like that.
Well, I had to wear it because...
You know, you've got a beautiful body. You must work out. You know, I ride motorcycles, too. Don't you just love the feeling of the power between your legs?
I never really thought about it that way.
Don't be shy. Now, I know it's awkward. I've seen a lot of young men like you confused about their feelings.
Confused? Well, yeah, I have been kind of messed up.
Like I said, I know a lot about you. I can see it in your eyes. By the way, my name's Mark.
My name's John.
You're not confused now about your feelings, are you?
Well, I kind of
Now that's a start. Why don't we go someplace quiet where we can talk man to man? What do you say?
Well, sure, why not?
Daddy was right. Not all men are dorks and geeks. Some are dorks and some are geeks and some are...
Would you like to meet my mother?
All right, I promise to do the right thing this time. Just
Run, Jane, run.
Help me, help!
Run, Jane, run! Run, Jane, run! I'm here! Hold on!
Son of a bitch. Ooh, wait till my daddy gets a hold of you.
Call the police!
Whoa, whoa, no police. Don't call the police.
You're going to jail for what you did to me.
What'd he do to you?
He wanted me to strip for him to get a job.
You're disgusting. Go, call the police.
Wait a minute. Whoa. I can make you an offer you won't refuse. There's no way you'll refuse it. It's been proven in many, many movies.
What? A real job? Like in Working Girl?
No, I'm offering you a lot more than that. Try $5 million.
$5 million? For what?
One night with you.
I cannot believe how disgusting this story is. In the name of women throughout the world, I demand this story be stopped right now. I'm sorry, but I cannot allow this sexist trash to continue. I am going to liberate... What are you doing here?
So much for that liberation front. I'm back in control now. No one takes over my story. Men have been beaten, kicked, slugged, and spat on throughout this sorry tale. I'm telling you, I've had it with these uppity women. They can take over businesses, they can take over the damn government for all I care, but the one thing they will not take over is my story. And this story ain't over till I say it's over. Now let me see how you screwed up this time. Uh-huh. Just as I thought. You know, I give you a simple little task like getting these two lovebirds together, and look what happens. I hate to imagine what your love life is like. Now let's see if you can save Jane from yourself.
How could anyone refuse? Jane goes for it. Who wouldn't?
You know, Jane's really not that indecent. Choose this decision now.
Who do you think you're talking to? Some bimbo? Who the hell do you think she is?
Hey, let the lady speak for herself.
Tell him hell's gonna freeze over before you'd accept such a ludicrous offer. Jane, I love you. I loved you the moment we met. I waited for you. I idolized you. I've seen you in my dreams.
It is a lot of money.
But what about us? I couldn't stand it. Just knowing you were with him. Even if it is only one night.
What's one lousy night? What were you gonna do? Buy me pizza and expect the same thing?
No, of course not. Jane, it's not that way. I don't want you for a night. I want you for a lifetime. I've been searching for you.
Freudian slip?
That was an egotist, didn't you? I'm going to keep that in the script. I'm going to use that. I'm going to paste that together and use that.
Okay. All right, ready?
Oh, that's pregnant. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Come to the top, page 65.
Jane, it's not that way. I don't want you for a night. I want you for a lifetime. I've been searching for you. I mean, okay, maybe you're not perfect. Maybe you do like money too much. Maybe you are a daddy's girl. Maybe you are spoiled rotten, but you can't be bought. That sort of thing only happens in movies.
Who do you think you're kidding? Happens every day in the streets. How about 1,000 for a couple of hours?
Sure thing, buddy. Your place or mine.
Whoa! You're disgusting.
Then you two should be perfect together. He's all yours. Come on, Tiger, let's leave these lovebirds alone.
Wait a minute. Can't leave me here with her. What about the police? Call the police.
Deal's a deal. You called it.
See, Thrasher, you can buy love. You just proved it.
Don't worry, honey. He'll get his money's worth.
Help me. You can't, wait a minute. You can't leave me here.
I want to thank you for what you did. That was very brave. No one's ever done anything like that for me.
Oh, it was nothing.
Did you really mean what you said? You know, how you felt about me?
I've never felt like this about anyone.
This is so crazy. I feel so overwhelmed.
I love you so much. It's such a crazy world. If anything should happen, if something should keep us apart, oh, kiss me, Jane. Kiss me as if it were the last time.
Well, congratulations. It's finally getting steamy in the asphalt jungle. I don't believe you've made it this far, especially with a score like yours. Has John won over Jane with his heroics? Will he finally turn his life around and marry the woman of his dreams? Or would you like to see something completely different?
Hey, give me the Hollywood ending. I'm a romantic person, you know.
If you didn't like the first choice, choose the second one.
Hey.
I've never felt like this before. Never.
Me either, ever.
Maybe we should go somewhere and park. I mean talk.
Yeah, I'd like that.
What, talk or park?
Talk, for now.
I'm just testing.
What about your work? I thought today was real busy for you.
You just cleared up my schedule.
John, I want to know everything about you. Where you live, what kind of work you do. That's so god-awful important. I like a man who takes his work seriously. I want to meet your mother and...
Jane, hold on a sec. I don't want us to get started on the wrong foot here. There's something you have to know.
Yes? What is it, dear?
Well, you see, it's about my work. I'm really a plumber.
Oh, I just love your sense of humor. You're such a joker.
No, I'm serious. I'm really a plumber.
John, plumbers don't wear ties. Now, come on, stop fooling around. I know. Why don't we get something to eat? I'm hungry. You have plans for dinner?
No, I don't have plans for dinner anymore.
And why don't we go to my place? I'll cook something for you.
You cook?
Well, if it doesn't work out, we can call for pizza.
That sounds great.
What? My cooking or my pizza?
It doesn't matter. You've got me eating out of your hand already. Now, let's just pretend I was a plumber. Would it matter to you?
No, stop it. You're such a jokester.
I'm really a plumber. My nickname's Rooter. Okay, what if I was a janitor or a garbage collector? Would it matter?
John, I love who you are right now. What's wrong with being an account rep? What's the big deal? Why do you want to be someone you're not? Just be yourself, John.
I'm trying.
Just so long as you're not a lawyer.
Don't insult me, Jane. I'd rather be a plumber. Are you sure you want to meet my mother?
I want to know who's behind this. Give me the credits.
Wow, you really want to go through this again?
That's it, folks. Bye. I want to know.
Perhaps this will be a lesson for you. Perhaps you'll take your next job seriously. Perhaps this will be a lesson for Perhaps this will be
Perhaps this will be a lesson for you. Perhaps this will be a lesson.
You know, perhaps something can't...
Jane says no to this.
If you really enjoyed the shower scene,
You promise I'll get the job if I do this one thing, Mr. Thresher?
I give you my personal guarantee, my dear.
Well, I guess it'll be all right, won't it?
Of course it'll be all right. You'll be very happy working under me.
Well, okay then.
That's better. That's the spirit. I knew you could do it. Hope you don't mind being videotaped.
Mark, how did you know?
Know what?
That I like this kinky stuff. Now don't be shy, Mark. I know you really want it. I've seen a lot of men like you. Big boys with big cars in big offices with their big chests puffed up all the time. All of this show to make up for that teeny little peenie, right? Deep down inside, you're just a confused little boy, aren't you, Mark? You really don't like being the boss, do you, Mark? You'd rather have somebody else be the boss, wouldn't you? You'd rather be my subordinate, wouldn't you, Mark? Now take your clothes off, you filthy little boy!
Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
Get down on your knees, you bad boy.
Oh, please, please.
You promise to be a good boy for Jane? You're gonna do every little thing Jane tells you to do?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, but please be gentle.
Now, what was my salary?
Whatever you want, I don't care. Be gentle, please. Just don't hurt me. Don't hurt me, please.
That's a good boy. We know who's the boss now, don't we, Mark?
Oh, now you've done it. You've really done it. How could you make Jane into such a perverted young thing? She was such an innocent girl before you started screwing around with this story. Is this what you want? I've guided a lot of people through this story, but I've never seen such a disgusting series of plot choices in my life. But now that I know who I'm dealing with, I'm gonna give you one last chance to redeem yourself and get this story back on track. After this little episode, your score may be the lowest in this game's history. I hope you enjoy Saturday night television.
Uh-oh, I screw up. Could you give me another run? Jane says,
If you really enjoyed the shower scene in this storyline, check out this decision. Run, Jane, run. Run, John. John's not going to resort to violence. It's not politically correct these days. Choose this decision if you think he's man enough to try something else.
all right, I promise to, all right.
Run, Jane, run.
I think it's probably largely forgotten by people below a certain age that there was a time that seeing a video clip on a home electronic device, a digitized clip, was a novelty.
You're going to get to know a lot about me, maybe even more than you imagine.
The big promise of CD-ROM was that it had an amazing amount of memory capacity compared to a cartridge. And then the question was, what do you actually fill that memory with?
It felt like it was kind of limitless when we came to CD-ROM. It was so much storage for that time. You know, hard drives alone were usually just in like the tens of megabytes in the 80s. And here came like this little plate, and it was giving you 650 megabytes of data. And that was a lot at that time.
A good friend of our family was always really up on the latest technology. And he showed me a CD-ROM drive for the first time. No games at the time, but it was an old CD-ROM drive that you loaded with a caddy system. So you actually put the disc in this plastic tray, close the flap, slide that thing in, and it seemed like infinite data. So just the fact that you could cram it full of stuff, immediately in my head, I'm like, oh man, games.
I only saw that medium as music, and I just didn't understand how it worked. So it just didn't make any sense to me. It felt like when my friend showed it to me and put the CD in there, I just didn't believe him that it was games and it was going to work.
When I first encountered CD-ROMs, I was deeply skeptical on console. They were slow to load. The FMV effects did not impress me after the first few minutes, especially since my first exposure to FMV was in the arcade with Laserdisc, where they'd actually been better done than some of the early examples there. I was very sensitive to loading times. Even though I used PCs quite a bit and was used to them in that space, I thought of consoles as an instantaneous place to play video games, and I separated those in my mind.
But certainly the game industry was ready for the jump that a cheaper medium would provide.
The memory inside cartridges is very restrictive. It's very expensive to kind of upgrade that. CDs opened this whole world of possibilities for really, really nice renders and even videos.
All the magazines had hyped up that you could have CD music and anime cutscenes.
I think it's kind of natural that that's the direction that it went, that all of a sudden when people realized that they could have hyper-realistic stuff, well, what's more hyper-realistic than pointing a video camera at someone? So, you know, you can get the best graphics on a CD that way.
So like video in the game space started with Laserdisc, right? And then it kind of went away for a while. And then now with the advent of CD-ROM, it was like, we can do this at home. And that's kind of what kicked things off.
Plumbers Don't Wear Ties does not have a lot of actual motion, the motion part of full motion video in it. It tends to be a lot of stills, but you're still accomplishing that same kind of like, the graphics are these real people. They are not pixels, it's real people acting out a scene.
A full motion video game is a game that endeavors to use motion picture footage to tell video game stories and integrate into gameplay directly as opposed to simple cinematics.
To me, at the basest core, I feel like a full motion video game is something that gives me control over something that feels like it could have been a movie or a television show.
The video game industry hasn't always been something that's huge or taken seriously, and I think especially in this kind of like early 90s period, it was a time when people were like, well, what is serious? What is real entertainment? And the answer was Hollywood. So what if we just made video games like Hollywood? Then it'll be serious. Then it'll be like the real deal.
How can we display more advanced graphics than could realistically be done in real time? That was the idea.
Dragon's Lair, Mach 3, games like that, I saw that they were beautiful, but I also instantly recognized there was something different about them. And I was also really in at a young age to movies and was aware of the existence of Laserdisc. So how these games worked was not really a mystery to my little kid mind. I was like, oh, they're playing video clips. Okay. And even the idea of video clips was kind of a strange thing back then, but my head could wrap around it. I watched Dragon's Lair on demo mode over and over, and I was like, I get it. It's the same thing every time. Okay, they're just switching around the order.
It's limited in the sense that, I mean, you can only do as much as you filmed. So you don't get the full sense of exploration that you get out of a game that's completely interactive. You know, you're basically funneled down a director's path in almost the same way a movie would, but then you have these branching paths that will allow you to see other takes that the director has come up with. So it's not as experimental or freeform as regular games would be. It's more guided, and I feel like that's a limitation of it. But I also feel like that opens up the game in terms of its accessibility.
Everyone's really kind of on a level playing field. Whether you're deeply into games or whether you're just, you know, someone's uncle, like my uncle, who had some games like that, like Mad Dog McCree on the computer.
Especially in the PC space, developers and publishers were always looking at how can we expand this out? How can we get dad playing video games and mom playing video games? Or, you know, anybody really. And there was many different types of genres and types of games, and I think FMV is just one of those things because it was usually not that complex, and it was designed to be like, hey, you like watching movies? How about you play one?
They called it Sillywood, the Silicon Valley and Hollywood coming together. Like, what if you could just be in a movie? What if it was a movie that you could play?
That's what I love about this era, because it was so experimental, right? Like, nobody knew. Like, this end goal of just getting people onto your screen, just seeing full color, or even just 256 colors representing people on a computer. That was nuts. Heck, even just still frames, right? Just a still picture. It sounds silly, but honestly, for that period, that was not a trivial thing to do on these machines, right? So all of this stuff was kind of coming together, and it just, it created the FMV genre.
When you had CD-based consoles, at least that early, this was like the only type of game that you couldn't get on a cartridge.
So FMV was really a chance for people to say, look, we have all this space. Let's really put it to use with something you can't do in any other format. And FMV, while it wasn't always great in terms of gameplay, it made use of the potential of that medium in a way that traditional games really couldn't.
FMV on consoles was the realization of that dream. The problem was it was a very clunky realization. It was a very limited realization. Some of that had to do with budgets.
You're kind of limited by the logistics and the realities of the actual cost of creating these things, especially if you're filming real actors and real sets.
The reality of it was that a lot of these games just weren't actually very fun. So if video games aren't fun and the production values aren't Hollywood level, then you just are kind of pushing buttons to a bad movie, which is not really what I think anyone had in mind.
Once you've gotten the entire story, then there's nothing else. And that's one of the good things about Night Trap is that you can play through it several times and always see like some new stuff.
Night Trap is so honest about what it is that it's one of the best.
They took the concept of using security cameras and they plugged it into the game itself, where you would actually be watching something that happens that you don't have direct control over. You just had control over the feeds.
Developers, as often happens, saw an example of success in, say, Seventh Guest, in Night Trap, and these kinds of games that do use FMV in an interesting way, but kind of only got the video part of it, and therefore we'd quickly go into a realm of kind of very loose, like quick time-based video gaming. And so the games themselves became more limited in its genre than it actually needed to be.
It's good to go back and reevaluate and kind of understand what those games were about and what they could be, what people tried to make of them.
Even though we have so many more genres of games now and so much more technology to do this in a full 3D space, I think there's still the sense of that realism and the fact that our eyes connect with these characters in a different way, the fact that we know they're real. I think this can be used effectively still to this day.
Like most of the universe, my first exposure to Plumbers as anything but a legend I'd read about in places was James Rolfe on The Angry Video Game Nerd, dissecting it, and then just being like, well?
Saw that episode, didn't believe that there was any way that this game was actually real, then had to track down a copy of it and play it, and yeah, it's worse than that video would lead you to believe.
This isn't a game that was particularly well advertised, well regarded. It only became this weird cult classic really through, the sort of YouTube zeitgeist. Like, it took on a life of its own by being such a bad game featured in this very popular YouTube channel.
I subscribe to something called Electronic Entertainment, E2, by the way, not E3. And then this magazine and many other PC gaming magazines of the era, you'd flip through, you find all your normal games, no problem. Then you get to the back. You get to the back and you're going to start to find a whole selection of adult CD-ROMs. You'll see titles, you'll see advertisements. I actually got in trouble at school once for that, for having one of those magazines. They thought I brought in a smut magazine, but it was actually just for PC gaming. So in one of those issues, I saw something on this game once, and I just thought it was another one of those silly, sexual FMV games, right?
I do certainly remember that someone did a preview. It was not a review, but it was a preview. And I remember looking at the pictures, and I was really excited because I was like, well, I recognize that lady. She's a wrestler. And that kind of gave me a little bit of a wrong idea.
It's funny thinking about seeing it in a magazine because you probably saw like this still screenshot of the game. And in your mind, you're thinking, oh, this is all like moving video. but like what you're seeing in that screenshot is literally what you get in the game.
Plumbers was kind of ingrained into my mind around the early thousands as like this terrible game, the worst game of all time, as people would say. And it created this curiosity in me to play it and experience it. And I had that chance when I walked into kind of a glorified pawn shop in this area. It was a recycle shop, basically, and they had a 3DO with a bunch of games. I had no idea what the games were, but the lot for this thing was only $100. So I bought it with company money at the time, because I didn't have my own money. I just started Mighty Rabbit, my development company, and managed to convince my co-founder to spend $100 on this 3DO, because I was like, it's such a good deal, we gotta get it. Anyways, we were flipping through the games, and Plumbers Don't Wear Ties was one of them. And I kind of instantly got excited, not only because it's a very expensive game, it was worth a lot of money even at the time, but because it was this game I'd heard so much about that was almost mythical at this point. And it became this kind of running tradition in the office. When we'd hire a new employee, we would make them play Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. And I feel like that's almost abusive in a sense that we would make employees do that. But to us, you know, when we were like a group of like 5 or whatever people, we thought it was funny. You know, I don't do that now. I certainly don't make my new employees do that, but at the time.
You make them produce it now.
Yeah, now I'm making my employees make Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. So, you know, that's a full circle.
The internet was in its infancy. People weren't just browsing this kind of light adult style content. So putting it on CD-ROM was probably seemed like good business at the time, but without a lot of money behind it.
I feel like that's the question, is how did this happen? Because at the time that it happened, it represents a giant step back in technology on a system touted as being more capable than what came before it, right? This game came out on 3DO.
To fully understand how something like this happens on a console, you need to look at the console industry as a whole. Up until the mid-'80s or so, consoles are pretty open-ended. After that point going forward, console manufacturers actually implemented systems to essentially require developers to adhere to their standards in order to publish the games. The 3DO, though, was a very different beast. So this was the brainchild of Trip Hawkins, who was the founder of Electronic Arts. Rather than just building a box called the 3DO box, they actually built a standard. And companies like Panasonic, Sanyo, and the like, they would then build boxes to the specification. But along with that, they essentially left it wide open. You didn't have to have the 3DO seal of quality. That was not a requirement on that. If you had the manufacturing capabilities, you could publish on 3DO. And that meant the wide variety of quality in terms of what appeared on the system was, it was interesting.
You get opportunists coming in and saying, okay, well, what do we need to make a video game? Well, there's no requirements that you have to really meet other than the fact that it has to run on the console. You have to be able to plug in a controller and make a choice, at least to start the game. And I guess that's it. So you look at Plumbers, and yeah, it is the bare basics of a video game, but a video game nonetheless.
Plumbers' format is very strange. The fact that you're getting these stills with what I've heard described before as sort of a radio drama.
Oh, kiss me, Jane. Kiss me as if it were the last time.
Did they only do it this way because they didn't understand how to get it to work with video? So they just said, you know, let's just use photographs. It makes you wonder if they have some sort of video master of this stuff and they're just like pulling selects out of each one.
I feel like they had no ability to capture full motion footage, digitize it, and, you know, figure out the technological component in actually making that full motion video run on the platform. It's a lot easier to just display an image or whatever.
The video codecs of that era were extremely rudimentary, huge in terms of file size. You couldn't get a lot of video in there. So it's entirely possible that they just at some point deemed that, okay, we can't do this on one disc. And by going with still shots, it basically allows them to tell something that's a little bit longer and has different branches. If you try to do it all with video, I'm not sure it would have actually been feasible on that single disc.
I would think that moving from still frame to still frame could be a beautiful way to make a video game. I mean, that's what Myst is. Myst is just a series of still images stapled together, and they're stapled together in a compelling way that made it one of the most successful video games of all time. So Plumbers doesn't commit a crime just by using that format. It could have been a very effective kind of storytelling game.
They kind of just went with the easiest route possible to produce this game on as little money as they possibly could. And I feel like that lends a lot to its charm because it's just so obviously low budget.
Even though it's a low budget game, you still need to be able to develop for this platform. And that was still a taller bar to cross compared to building a game for the PC at that era. So the developers of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties obviously had to climb enough of a ladder to get over that hump to actually be able to program 3DO software to get this released on the system, even if technologically it's rather anemic.
So the format just comes off as cheap. It's just another way to signal to you, oh, we didn't want to spend money on this, but you bought it. Ha ha. Wow, I didn't know things got worse than the holiday special. But they do. And it's Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
Man, I really don't know if it's the worst, but it's really, really, really far down there.
You have to steel yourself for this game when you play it, right? But it's certainly not something you're going to forget.
There is no contemporaries. There is no comparisons. It's just that bad.
Plumbers really is just as bad as everyone says it is. It's garbage. It is a grease fire. It is the worst of all worlds.
This game is always going to be remembered for being what it is, which is this extremely bad example of 1990s full motion video excess.
It was probably always meant to be a campy, weird game. You know, I don't think anyone who was sitting in on those storyboard meetings was like, ah, yes, a beautiful, flawless work of art that will color people's cultural ideas for the future. You know, I mean, it's a campy game. You can have fun with camp, right?
The goofiness factor and the unexpected appearances, like a certain chicken man, it does result in something that's perhaps a little bit more memorable in a really dumb way, right? Like, make no mistake, it's not good, but it's not good in a way that is good.
I'm giving it too much credit, but in a way, I guess you can accidentally say that it is the first American-produced visual novel.
This style of game wasn't actually unheard of at the time, maybe in the US, but that was something that had been explored a lot on the Japanese side, where it was much more about still images, about reading, about audio, sound novels was what they called them in Japan. So in a way, it was almost a little bit ahead of its time, although it probably ended up being that way just because of budgetary constraints, is my guess.
Most of those adult games of the era, they didn't really try. At least what I've seen, by the way. I haven't gone through all of them. Let's make that clear right now. But the ones I've looked at, they tended to be either more like cyber or more serious. And this one was just kind of goofy. But then, some of the other stuff in there, like the abuse from the boss, for instance, it's pretty bad, right?
It is probably not the way we would depict women in very many scenarios today. It treads into some kind of strange and uncomfortable territory sometimes. But the fact that that she had a good time working on this game and that was very comfortable the entire time, it shows just kind of how inherently capitalistic this all was. Like they were just trying to make something that they thought would sell, and and they thought that putting a woman in these kinds of situations could sell, and maybe not a reflection of the moral values of the people involved in the project. I think nowadays, at the very least, there's an entire genre that's just meant to sort of positively portray those kinds of relationships, which is the otome genre. It's visual novels for women, essentially, or at least that's how it started. And this is very popular in Japan, and it's basically just kind of woman-forward romance. Just really kind of sweet. I mean, sometimes goes into raunchier territory, but we have genres that kind of put this stuff into maybe a better context now that we, at least in the United States, didn't really have at the time.
You can go back and play the best games of all time over and over and over, and they're always going to age super well. but 9 times out of 10, the story behind them isn't anywhere near as interesting as these horrible left turns and these train wrecks that we come across.
It's really okay, I think, to take something truly awful and mock it. Look at it and say, this is the worst we ever got to.
People always remember the greatest games of all time. They're always going to remember the worst games of all time as well. Nobody's going to remember a game that was somewhere in the middle. Those are the games that fade into obscurity, but being the best of the worst is almost as good as being the best of the best in terms of being remembered.
It is zany, it is baffling, and it's just, it's Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
always strikes me is that the plumber wears a tie. And it colors the rest of the game for me because it's literally the title. And why is he wearing a tie?
There's this part where he's playing his plunger like a guitar. Even though it's done with just a few frames, you know what's going on. You know he's just wailing on that plunger, and it's just, you're like, what am I even doing? Like, but you can't stop. That's the point where it grabs you, and you're just like, I need to see where this is going.
The mother, she's got the makeup on, like the green makeup, and she's got this big smile. It's the creepiest image, and I think the reason why it sticks out to me is because it's the image that I was using for testing for some of the upscaling stuff. So it's the one that, like, I think of plumbers, that's the first one that pops up.
The most potentially problematic scene, just because we have to think about how we portray or contextualize that scene in 2022, that's the scene that first comes to mind. And it probably wasn't what I would answer if you asked me before we started working on this.
The opening credits feel like someone just got MS Paint and is like, let's just throw whatever we got in there, whatever stock photos we can get, like throw some race cars in there, and then we will like invert the colors.
The title screen is unbelievable that somebody put that together and just thought, yeah, let's ship that.
The first time I played it, what really got me was the host guy, just, you would make a decision and you would just come out and be like, well, I'm taking 29 million points off your score. And I'm like, where did this arbitrary number come from? What the hell?
The chase scene across Hollywood, just this walking, lazy, just whimsical sort of lollygagging about chase, if you want to even call it a chase. It looks absolutely ridiculous and completely full of non sequitur scenes. It's bizarre and I guess maybe funny.
Seeing a man in a striped suit wearing a chicken mask, it speaks to me in ways that it probably shouldn't. I don't know what it is about it, but people sometimes see holy spirits in their coffee foam and in the clouds, but I see a man in a chicken mask and I kind of feel like that's my religion.
What have I done? What have I done? Oh, God. Oh, no. What have I done? I think my first impression of CD-based games wouldn't really be games, but they were more like computer softwares, like a movie catalog. And you would look up movies on there, it would give you some information, and every now and then it would have a clip. They would actually include like a little clip, very low resolution, but it was a clip from the film. And it was like, wow, I'm watching a movie on a CD. Even CDs, for that matter, were kind of new. Just the idea of listening to music on a new medium was kind of interesting because on a video game cartridge, there's a chip inside, or on an audio cassette, there's tape inside of it, but you don't handle it. You don't actually touch the tape. The CD was just, you're touching the data, so it seemed. So CDs kind of had a negative impression, sort of, between me and my friends when they first came out, because we thought you could scratch them real easily and then the game wouldn't play, or the music. I didn't know how far CDs would go. It was sort of a big question at that point. With the 3DO, I only knew the commercials. This is flying. This is real flying. All those childish games, we're all done with that now. Now we're going into real games. Yeah, I didn't know anybody who had a 3DO. I guess it was just too expensive. And I didn't really get a taste of it other than those commercials, not until I started doing the nerd videos. So I never heard of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties until the fans requested it. So I had to try it out, and it was so bizarre. And I didn't think it was possible to make a video of it, because what am I going to do with this? Most of the games I would review, I would be able to change the course of action by playing the game. There's many variables to what I can do and what I can show happen. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, it's pretty much just a bunch of images that you're going to see no matter what. I can't really change the outcome of the game a whole lot. You'd make these choices for the characters, and then that was about it. I didn't think it was going to make a very good episode, but I tried anyway. It's basically just a basic sort of reaction video almost. I'm just going through it and being like, what the hell is this? That kind of thing. Like, there wasn't really a whole lot in my commentary other than just explaining what I'm seeing as if I need like confirmation. Like, hey, is this what's happening? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? The panda head in the bedroom, the guy playing guitar with the plunger. There's all those weird filters and the guy with the chicken head. And then there's that really weird, like, uncomfortable scene in the office where the boss, this real sleazy boss, tells her to take her clothes off. And then she, like, surprises all of us, but she actually does it. But she has, like, a whip and handcuffs, and she's like, okay, if I'm going to take my clothes off, I'm going to do this to the point where you're not even going to be able to handle it. I don't know what the point of the whole thing was, but it's such a weird game. The voices in it were really peculiar. Like, who do you think should make the first move? Press A now. I don't think the game was really meant to be seen by that many people. I think it was kind of just like an experiment. Like, they even put an outtake in there just to show that they weren't that serious. An outtake that's in it. So it's an intake, not an outtake. I guess it's in there just to show you that they're having fun with it and that it's not really meant to be taken serious. I mean, how could it be taken serious? But the fan response was overwhelmingly positive. Even to this day, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I remember your Plumbers Don't Wear Ties episode. I really like that. Or, like sometimes even like that was the first one they saw. Like your Plumbers Don't Wear Ties episode was the one that introduced me to your work. And that's pretty amazing. And yeah, I don't know that this game sort of has a legacy that's very special and very one of a kind. And I'm really happy to be attached to it in some kind of way. So yeah, I'm honored.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Basone, aka Hollywood, from the original Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It was a TV show in the 80s. At a young age, I knew I wanted to do acting. I knew that, and I kept saying to Mom and Dad, I want to do this. I'd like to model. I'd like to give out Academy Award. I want to pose in Playboy. These are things that a 12-year-old, what am I thinking? I want to, what am I thinking? And my parents would just look at me and just keep moving on. So I figured, well, after high school, I'll do what I want to do. I got with an agency, and I just did one thing of extra work, the people that walk around in the background or they're sitting at the table. And then I went back to my regular job, which was drawing blood. That is a phlebotomist. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm sure that's what my parents would like me to do. So there just happened to be an audition, and I went home and I checked that audition. It was a sports TV show. I went after work. I got to the audition. There's probably 500 different ladies there, and this man, David McLean, says, this show is going to be about women's wrestling, and I didn't know much about wrestling. I knew every other sport, but I'm like, oh boy. And I saw about 20 girls leave their seats and walk out the door, and I'm thinking, oh no, what do those chicks know that I don't know? But I'm young, no fear. Went down to the audition. I went to the audition, which really was training. Mondo Guerrero was our trainer, and Mondo trained us Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday nights, so I could work and then train at night. As I kept going back, I noticed that there was less and less women, and they were weeding down 12 ladies. They wanted 12 girls to do a pilot. That's all they needed, and they had characters for each girl. So at the end of the day, I was one of the girls that they picked, and they called my character Hollywood. My tag team partner was Vine, and we did a pilot. We took it to syndication to NAPI in 1986. And at the end of January, they called and said, pack your bags, you're going to Vegas. And so I did the pilot and all 4 seasons of that show. And that's when I figured at that point, I'd like to do more TV shows or more acting. Stunt work was another thing that I got into after glow ended, and one of my friends said, let's go on a set and I'll show you how you hustle a set. And all that means is you're going down to a set to give them your picture and resume and meet with the coordinator. So I started doing a lot of that. And then wrestling, I started my own company, Hollywood Productions. And so main thing was stunt work, some modeling, some acting, and then the wrestling. The wrestling I've done from day one. I never stopped. There was a restaurant that we used to work at noontime. It was a lunch lingerie show. And Michael used to be one of the patrons that would have lunch there and check out the show. I knew him probably quite a few times before he had asked about doing the game. And he lived in the area as well. And he came up to me and asked if I'd be interested in doing a video game. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Okay, whatever. Sounded off the wall to me, but he wanted Jane to be like the lingerie show. And she was. And then I got to meet John, which is Edward. I'd never met him before, a model. I don't know where Michael found him, but we got along very well. Oh, and then Paul Thrusher. He was a friend of mine. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have the perfect guy, sleazebag looking type of guy to be the boss. And Paul, he was perfect for the part. Poor Paul, you're not a sleazebag, you know, but he was perfect. What I remember is just 1 or 2, maybe 3 trips to do this. I mean, look at it. You get what you put into it, I guess. There was a little video and then a series of stills through the game. We were definitely acting out the scenes because, as you can see, some of them look like he might have taken stills possibly off of the video and then camera shooting. There was no pre-production that I remember at all. Just show up on Sunday, 9 a.m. And the reason we did the weekends because everybody had jobs, plus I think Michael had a building that he worked at that was not going to have a lot of people around. And it was just Michael doing everything. I never had a bad experience through the whole thing. This was fun. He had my consent to say, yes, I'm going to kiss Edward now. Yes, you know, take off your clothes. I just, you know, now looking at it, I cringe a little bit because it's different. But everybody on set made you feel comfortable. It's a script. I'm following a script for a game. So I didn't see anything wrong with it when I was shooting it then. For the most part, we had fun, and I think everything went really smoothly. So I'm thinking the first day that we shot might have been in that parking lot at first. The footage of me driving, that's my car. However, when you cut back to the outside scenes there in Glendale, that blue car, I have no idea whose car that is. So we shot all the parking lot scenes first, and then we went into the building, and then, of course, running through the streets like we did. And I don't think that we had permits for any of the places. I think we were just like Ed Wood, on the run, let's go do it, quick. The interesting things is I love all the places that we went to. So I'm wondering, did I say let's go to Alvaro Street, let's go to Grauman's, the observatory, and those are like some of my favorite places to go to. So I'm wondering if I had any input in any of where we went. I'm pretty sure it was my idea to lay down across the tracks with the train. I know it was my idea. I'm like, that's the damsel in distress part right there. We're doing that. I think Michael let us go with the flow. He gave us a lot of space to do what we wanted to do. I think that's what made the shoot so fun, is letting us do what we wanted to do. Hey, may I suggest this? And I probably didn't say it as nice as that. I probably said, we're going here, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And then here's another question. Did he tell us what I should wear? Did I pick out? Because those are obviously my clothes. There's no wardrobe. There's no hair. There's no makeup. I mean, look at it. We're just like, get out of the shower, throw a little makeup on, go. It was a great experience. The only thing I was trying to figure out was, how are they going to put all of that into a game? And I never saw the game. You know, people finish with certain projects and people move on. That's going to be something that never will happen. That's exactly what I thought. Oh, well, we shot it. That's it. I never saw the game until the internet got popular and I started getting those emails and I'm like, what? Where? You saw this where? So I wasn't aware of the YouTube Angry Video Nerd guy. And I clicked on that. I was horrified at first. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? But he was so funny because basically he's saying these things. We're thinking them, but he's saying them out loud. If you listen to the language that he's using, and it's so funny, I had to laugh. So that was probably my first indication that this thing that we did in 1993 is this game. Either people love it or they hate it, or they think it's funny, and you have fan clubs of Jane. And then I looked at the views. I'm like, this game is in the millions. People are actually checking this shit out. I'm sorry. But yeah, I hadn't thought about it in years. So to see this coming back up and to have somebody remember that, that's cool. So I'm getting a new set of fans that I love. And I can't wait really to meet them and talk to them all about and answer their questions, because I'm sure they're going to have a lot of questions. If you ask me would I do it again, absolutely yes. Of course. It was fun. No regrets. You can always say no to any situation that you're in. Stand your ground. I had to do that a few times during the 80s and early 90s. And I just, walk and go to the next audition, the next gig. But never be afraid to say no. Stand up for who you are. I always did that. Have an open mind, but I think you're going to have fun when you play the game, and you're going to go, oh, that's not so bad. What, they're saying this, they're saying that? I've seen way more than that. I think you'll love it.
I started trying to find the rights for Plumbers Don't Wear Ties back in 2016. And I thought that it was with whoever owned Kieran Entertainment, which was the publisher on 3DO. So I looked up Kieran Entertainment. I went through all of these records with the California Secretary of State. I found all of these business records that were associated with Kieran Entertainment. It was like Digital Stuff Incorporated and all these weird things I've never heard of. And I tried everything I could in my power to reach out to these people. I signed up for white pages. I got phone numbers. I cold called those phone numbers. I sent mail to the registered address of these companies, and the registered address of like whatever their most recent company was is actually just a random empty plot of land on the side of a highway. There is no mailbox there. There is nothing to actually receive mail. So of course my mail came back like 2 months later as undeliverable because there was nowhere to put it. Like, I almost feel like these people don't exist. I don't know, but I could not get in touch with these people. So after 4 years of trying that, I wrote to our lawyer and I said, hey, what recommendations do you have to figuring out who has the rights? And he was like, did you search the copyright database? And I guess I was just really stupid and I never searched the copyright database. I'd always searched the trademark database, which doesn't really provide you with a lot of information. But the copyright database will have emails occasionally. So I was able to find the copyright for Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. And then there was this name on it for the guy who had started United Pictures, which was the developer of the game. And clicked on his name and I got some other things like a diet program he had developed. So I clicked on that and then boom, his email address was there for this diet program copyright. And I was like, holy shit, I've got the way to contact whoever has the copyright. So I emailed him and he was like, wow, I'm surprised anyone is interested in this. And, within a couple weeks, it was all negotiated and done. And we were able to pick up the rights to restore and remaster Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. And I felt this weight lifted off my shoulders. I felt this, 4 years of effort just finally coming together.
We believe we can contextualize this game in an interesting way that will make it not only like the best way to consume the game, but to understand what it was, how it could have happened. We found that idea super fascinating.
So I discovered Plumbers at work. It was something that was floating around at the time, and Joe, he basically was like, hey, you want to know what this is? And he sent me the link to a video by Angry Video Game Nerd that I thought was very funny, very well made. And I was intrigued. I was like, if this is something that we're bringing back, I want to be a part of it.
When you look at a game like this, it's easy to assume from an outside perspective that, well, it is just still images. It is just audio files being played back. You know, that seems like basically 2 lines of code. However, there's so much more to it because the actual timing of the audio and images is somewhat finicky. The tools back then were much more in line of doing some operations like this in terms of FMV gaming, in terms of audio playback. Nowadays, these engines are much more about pushing polygons and allowing for much bigger games. When you actually have to scale it down to something this simple, it leads to a lot of interesting challenges that you don't foresee.
Top level, when you're looking at what you need to do, it's pretty straightforward. But actually coding it out was a little bit difficult because Unity doesn't necessarily have like a timer function. You have to build all of that from scratch and make sure that things flow correctly into each other. So there was a little bit of headache of making sure that, okay, this scene needs to follow up after this scene. And sometimes you mess up. So you got to really go and figure out, okay, what broke.
There's some fan assets and sites that show a lot of the differences between the 3DO and the PC version, and then include information about like the timestamps and stuff like that. Things that made it super useful for us to very quickly break apart the game and rebuild it exactly how it was, right down to like the millisecond of how these things are timed out.
We were given a lot of assets from the older title, even lots of code too, but it was very difficult to understand how to implement that in something like GameMaker or Unity, so we had to start from scratch. One of the biggest and most difficult things that we had to figure out was allowing the player to essentially skip through some of the scenes, just so that they don't have to sit through one that they've maybe already seen. They can just skip right to the decision part of it, or just skip to the next scene. That was a little bit difficult, trying to get that to work with the timer, making sure that when we did skip, we reset the timer.
We made a decision early on that, like, obviously we never wanted to try and approach this game by just putting it back out exactly as it was. We don't think there's a lot of value in that package, even if you remaster like the photos and the one video that's in there. So it basically became like, well, what can we do to create a value around this? And the value we thought that made the most sense was playing it very straight, contextualizing and telling a story about how this game exists, finding the right people who would have something meaningful to say about it, and maybe using it to make a living history piece as opposed to just a remastered version of an old game.
You shouldn't spend money on that original version because it's hundreds of dollars and very hard to seek out. But with this limited run version, it is as easy as either downloading it digitally or preferably buying it physically to own in your own collection as this curiosity in video games. And I think that's the legacy it leaves behind, is that is one of the biggest curiosities, especially in the Western hemisphere of video gaming. It's kind of like crazy that something like this happened. It's even crazier that it was brought back in 2022.
I like doing unexpected things, and I feel like providing a remaster to this level of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is a very unexpected thing. So that's really what has always been on my mind with regards to Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. But if this is successful, I would love to be able to look into doing more with it. If there ends up being demand for a sequel, a Plumbers Still Don't Wear Ties, we could do that. Because I actually, I was reading while I was researching the IP on Google that there was actually plans for a second Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, and some assets may actually exist for that floating around in the ether. But this kind of goes hand in hand with trying to find the IP. A lot of the people that worked on the game are kind of like lost to time. Even the people that I have found from that game, like they don't list United Pictures on their resume. So it's like, how do you find these people? You can't really. So I don't know if stuff for Plumbers Don't Wear Ties 2 will ever turn up, but if there's a possibility to make a second one, and, you know, the business warrants it, I would certainly do it. Again, I think that would be super unexpected.
Plumbers Don't Wear Ties returning is an example of how YouTube culture and memes can manifest themselves into a real thing.
I think the most common question when seeing that Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is coming back is why? Why on earth?
Like, to me, that's almost more enjoyable than getting to release this project. Just knowing that there are people out there thinking, why are they wasting their time doing this?
If you're just purely happy that Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is coming back, I think we need to have a conversation, because you shouldn't just feel happy. You should have questions, and you should be asking those questions. I ask myself questions every day while I'm working on this project, and I will for the rest of my life.
I think the project is very interesting from this perspective of who else would bother remastering the worst game of all time to the level that we are trying to remaster it, in terms of adding all these extras and these exclusives and these, you know, bonus features.
One of my favorite things about limited run games is that it seems that they have this ability to bring back things that shouldn't exist. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Somebody somewhere thought, like, what is the silliest game we could ever think of, like, releasing on modern platforms? And for the longest time, that was probably Night Trap. And, like, what's even sillier than Night Trap is Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, because, you know, like, it's like, that is, like, really hitting the bottom of the barrel.
There's no cash grab in Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. This is actually one of the hardest jobs we could possibly give ourselves, because we now have to give you a reason to buy the worst game ever made.
The whole time I'm thinking to myself, are we really putting this out? Like, who is asking for this?
I think it's really important to kind of recontextualize games that maybe culturally up until this point have only been the butt of a joke. You know, like, everyone knows Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, but does anyone actually know Plumbers Don't Wear Ties?
How many people really know the bad games or have had a chance to play them? And I feel like, from a historical perspective, somebody needs to be making these historically bad games accessible again, so people can satisfy that curiosity that they have in understanding why these games are so bad.
That's why I really like to see projects like these, is to sort of recontextualize things and put them in a different space than just, haha, this is stupid.
You know, it's funny, it's weird. There's a lot of bad stuff in it, though. You know, there's stuff that hasn't aged very well, and I think people can learn a lot from sort of the bad that is in there, and just making sure that they don't try to replicate it.
I mean, that's why I support publishing it. You know, we're making this game readily available again. And I think we should, because it's important. Remember the bad parts of your history. Just remember them in context. And I think this is a good context to engage this game.
When you go to a museum, not everything there would have been considered high art at the time of its release. We understand this, and Plumbers is certainly not high art, but it's a part of our culture, right? And it represents something that was really unusual for the console space.
Anything that brings us closer to all video games of all history being available, I think is a very noble effort, even when it results in the release of the worst video games.
There's a strong argument for the preservation of the worst games ever made being just as important as the best games ever made.
Sometimes those interesting experimental efforts are more interesting to look back on than something that was, you know, just really good and, you know, hit the ball out of the park right away. The kind of noble, ambitious failures are as interesting to look back on as the successes.
Those games, they can contextualize and tell you a slice of life of when these games came out and what the industry was like when they came out.
Being able to actually look back at it and understand, like, kind of what they were doing, what our market was like at the time, why does this exist? When you're looking at this as a complete sort of time capsule, I think it becomes a lot more compelling.
I hope that what we're doing with this game can contribute to what its final legacy will be.
I think, like myself, there is a subset of people that find this era of video game history like just fascinating. I gather that those people are the ones that are actually like, okay, I'm kind of curious to see like what the heck are they going to do with this thing?
You know, most people I think kind of got it. And this made me very happy for the reasons of like game preservation that come to a place where people kind of were like, yeah, this is awesome. It's not just about having, you know, these greatest 8-bit games put in a compilation. It's not just about that anymore.
I think the time is ripe for games like this to be reevaluated, and specifically this one, because it is so unusual for, you know, in terms of its content and its structure.
I'm kind of hoping it inspires people to make games that are just as wacky and zany as this. Hopefully not still images, but, you know, get the vibe that this game kind of emits and see if they can try to replicate it with something that they want to make.
So I want to say thank you for supporting an effort to remaster a game that nobody would have ever expected to get a remaster. And your support of projects like these will enable us to do more things like this in the future and remaster more games that are unexpected, forgotten, but historically significant to some level. You know, games that other people might not touch because they're bad or they're not, you know, games that have this huge, wide amount of appeal. And I really appreciate people who will support endeavors like that.
So when it came to actually AI upscaling this game, that was a gigantic task that I don't think I was fully prepared for, but when I came into the company, I was the only one that had true kind of involvement in the AI scene. I'd worked in Japan, and in Japan I'd worked very closely with the advent of AI upscaling in anime and then visual novels as well. I had dabbled a little bit into doing real photographs, and generally that is not great. Even today, as we're recording this, it hadn't really gotten to where I needed it to be. And that was a big problem because we had about 800 images that then needed to go from 640 by 480 index-colored BMP images into fully upscaled, clear photographs. So when I sat down to plan this out, the company, Limited Run Games, had already tried their hand at using kind of conventional AI upscaling applications. There are some out there, they're very good. And the results that came from that was kind of twofold. So you could absolutely see there is something here. Trees, shrubbery, this kind of stuff was being reproduced, but characters, objects, things that very much catches your eye was plasticky and kind of, it looked like everyone was just wrapped in some sort of protective rubber. This is making everyone look much more icky, and we can't go over this. There was another AI model that had been put into use, and it made everyone come out like kind of fried chicken texture. And I was like, I don't think this is going the right direction. So what I decided to do was, I have the connections to get in touch with the actress. One thing I talked to Jeannie was, hey, I want to try something out here. I want to do an AI upscale. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach or feed my own AI model and basically have it recognize you. But I need a lot of references. Can I use images of you? And can you supply them to me? And she was very happy. She was kind of like, this is really cool. And so we started to get to work. And it took me about 3 weeks to really create a model that I was satisfied with. The problem I had now introduced was that I had a model that was very good at recognizing Jeannie, but it made also Edward look like Jeannie. So I had to go contact him and say, basically, hey, I need a lot of images of you. And luckily, Edward also had a modeling career, so that was no problem. And feed the AI again, reconstruct the images. Now everyone looked like Edward much more. So what happened in the end was, basically I had 3 different AI models. One for Edward, one for Jeannie, one for backgrounds. The other actors were fairly prominent in their scenes so that the AI could do an approximation and I could hand edit all the inconsistencies. But for the general images, what I did was I ran a batch process once for every person and then ones for the backgrounds. I would take those results and actually composite them together from their individual sources into one image and kind of edit around each layer and find, okay, this one did a better job reproducing this, and this together would form the full scene. That wasn't enough though. What was kind of becoming clear to me halfway in, I would say like 8 to 9 months kind of into all this, even though those original images are very low quality, they still retain kind of like a color temperature and overall quality of a 90s photograph, like a Kodak moment. Because this game is just a sequence of Kodak moments. So what I did was basically scan my own family albums, a lot of pictures from different times. You scan them at a high DPI. You go in real close. What happens? Well, you start to see what is kind of the grain, how colors are blending together. And I went in and I made a custom filter that reproduced that look, that feel, to then batch process on top of the images I now reconstructed. Problem now was a lot of those old images that I had basically reconstructed 6 and 7 months prior had color balances that was out of sync with what I now needed for this new filter, which was then going to like reproduce that look. All in all, it took about, I'd say about a year from the first image to the very last one to get this all in. But as you can see in the game, I think what we managed to do was even better than actually scanning the individual images that was taken back then. And the reason why we couldn't even do that was that the original production was done on 4 different cameras. Through someone on production at Giovanni, we realized the game had been shot across some sort of bigger like studio photo camera and also a running video camera, a VCR camera. There's film, Polaroid, and then there's actual photographs. And none of this really has survived. So even if we did have full access to sources, we would have to comb through the actual video and find the stills. It's interesting in the sense that I think the game was meant to be video, but of course, for us doing this reconstruction, it meant we could only use what was in the game, and what was in the game did not lend itself well to AI. I'm pretty proud of it now though, because I think this is basically one of the first times that we used AI for actual real life photographs. So I think it's pretty neat, and I hope everyone playing it also enjoys it.
Fasten your seatbelts, because I'm about to turn this story over to you. Your mission, should you accept it, is to get these 2 lovebirds together.
Hi, I'm Jane. God, he's cute. Great smile.
Jane? John and Jane. Corny. I guess I could change my name to Tarzan.
You know what? I really have to go, but it's nice meeting you, John.
Wait. What are you doing later? For lunch? Can I buy you lunch? No, I'm serious. I'm really a plumber.
John, plumbers don't wear ties. Now, come on, stop fooling around.
Run, Jane, run!
Oh, God.
It is the first American-produced visual novel.
He came up to me and asked if I'd be interested in doing a video game, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. We were just like Ed Wood, on the run, let's go do it, quick.
It only became this weird cult classic through the sort of YouTube zeitgeist.
I didn't think it was going to make a very good episode, but I tried anyway.
Technologically, it's rather anemic.
I mean, look at it. Either people love it.
I'm giving it too much credit.
Or they hate it.
It is a grease fire.
Or they think it's funny.
This game sort of has a legacy that's very special and one of a kind.
I think you'll love it. Hi, my name is Jane. We might have met before, but you're about to rediscover a lot more about me. Maybe even more than you bargained for. This whole thing is like a brand new Corvette, still riding along the information superhighway. You put your strong, muscular hands around that controller and make me excited like it's happy feedback, haptic feedback. And I promise to do everything your little heart desires, but only if you check out all the new features and special contents. Just imagine you can watch me kick my sleazeball boss's ass, all in the new Plumber Vision. But if you make the wrong move, you could turn me into a nun yet again. Imagine that, me, a nun? No way. Really, it's all up to you. Who knows what you'll do with that little hot pad of yours? It's got way more buttons than the last time we met. I like a man who knows how to push the right buttons. Point is, life's a game, and this game is all about life. You do right by me, and I guarantee to do right by... Oh, whoa! What the hell are you doing? We're not gonna do this again. You are a sleazebag, and this is not the 90s. Do you think I'm stupid that I don't know what you're... Welcome back to Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Now let me remaster your face.
Hello everyone, and this is the interactive commentary for Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. I am the...
지금까지 한번 Plumbers Don't Wear Ties 이 배관공은 넥타이를 매지 않는다라는 게임을 좀 해봤는데요. 솔직히 이걸 제가 해본 입장으로서 제 생각을 좀 말해보자면은 게임 소리 좀 못 끄나? 너무 큰데. 일단 딱 크리티까지만 보고 좀 마저 이야기할게요. 솔직히 게임을 제가 처음 접하게 된 거는 저는 뭐 AVGN에서 이걸 보지는 않았고 그냥 뭐 나무위키에서 뭐 AVGN 관련으로 보다가 우연히 뭐 AVGN이 그 평가한 게임의 6단계 그 척도가 있는데 그 게임이라고 부를 수도 없는 것들을 보고 그걸 6단계에 냈었고 그 6단계에 그 속해 있는 게임 중에 하나가 이 배관공은 넥타이를 매지 않는다라는 게임이어가지고 이게 무슨 게임이지라고 그냥 그렇게 게임 이름만 들어봤지 솔직히 이게 무슨 게임인지 뭐 플레이하는 모습을 보지도 못했고 뭐 AVGN도 당연히 안 봤으니까 전혀 모르고 뭐 그러던 중에 우연히 그 GOG.com에서 우연히 이 게임을 보게 됐어요. 가격은 솔직히 지금 오늘이 며칠이냐? 7월 19일인가? 7월 19일이네요. 7월 19일 오늘 기준으로 거의 23,000원? 24,000원에 달하는 한 3달러 가량 그렇게 할인을 해서 16달러. 그러니까 원가는 거의 19달러인가 그랬는데 16달러로 그렇게 할인을 해서 거의 23,000원, 24,000원 하는 그 정도 가격에 이 게임을 사서 지금 처음으로 해보는 거거든요. 그래서 이 게임에 대해 그 사기 전에 좀 간단하게 나무위키에서 좀 간단하게 글을 읽었는데 뭐 게임 시작하고 나서 처음 선택지가 나올 때까지 굉장히 오래 걸린다? 뭐 그런 식으로 시작해서 여러 가지 굉장한 부정적인 말들이 좀 많이 쓰여져 있었어요. 그래서 저도 좀 근데 저 같은 경우는 이 게임에 대해서 뭐 들어본 적도 없고 뭐 해본 적도 없고 어떻게 생겼는지도 모르다 보니까 그걸 보니까 오히려 역으로 더 호기심이 생기더라고요. 이게 과연 그렇게 진짜 망게임일까? 만약 그렇게 망게임이면은 대체 이 게임이 그 나온 버전을 보니까 맨 처음에 오리지널 판이 나왔고 그 다음에 그 방금 그 트레일러들을 보셨으면 아시겠지만 리마스터 판도 한번 나왔고 그리고 이번에 나온 게 조금만 더 죽이자. 이번에 그 얼마 전에 그 4월에 이렇게 그 출시가 된 게 배관공은 넥타이를 매지 않는다 디피니티브 에디션 이렇게 나왔더라고요. 이걸 보니까 저는 뭔가 좀 더 역으로 궁금해진 거예요. 이 게임에 대해서 아니 그 세상에서 진짜 게임 축에도 못 낄 그런 물건이 만약 이렇게 있다고 한다면은 도대체 왜 이 제작사는 자기들 게임이 이렇게 똥게임이고 안 팔릴 걸 알면서까지 이렇게 왜 리마스터를 하고 이렇게 디피니티브 에디션까지 낸 거지? 그런 생각이 되게 들더라고요. 그래서 뭐 한번 해보기로 그렇게 생각을 했어요. 한번 해보기로 그 생각을 했고 이렇게 한번 해보고 나니까 솔직히 뭐 저는 제 입장에서는 뭐 그렇게까지 나쁘지는 않았던 것 같아요. 솔직히 그냥 뭐라고 하지? 보통 이런 걸 보고 싸구려 B급 영화라고 할까요? 그런 흔히 쓰는 그런 표현들이 있잖아요. 싸구려 B급 영화나 뭐 그런 거 보면은 굉장히 굉장히 그 사건이나 그 등장인물들의 성격, 행동 그런 거에 있어서 일관성이 없다거나 아니면 좀 예상치 못한 일들이 뭐 일어나는데 그게 전혀 뭐 개연성이라거나 떡밥이라거나 그런 게 전혀 없고 뭐 그런 걸 보고 흔히 B급 영화 뭐 그렇게 이야기를 하잖아요. 제가 이 게임에 든 생각이 딱 그거였어요. 이 게임 그냥 B급 감성을 가진 그냥 그런 게임 아닌가? 뭐 게임 진행 방식도 뭐 처음 게임을 시작하고 나서 그 8분이 지나서야 그 8분이 지나서야 뭐 그렇게 그 처음 선택지가 나온다 뭐 그러는데 그 솔직히 저는 그 글 쓴 사람이 그 텍스트 노벨이라거나 아니면은 텍스트 노벨이라거나 아니면 여러 그 미소녀 연애 시뮬레이션 그런 게임들을 잘 안 해본 게 아닐까 저 그런 생각이 들었어요. 왜냐면은 그 뭐 텍스트 노벨이라거나 미연 씨 같은 경우는 처음 시작을 하고 나서 오토 기준으로 최소 진짜 맨 처음에 시작해서 그 주인공의 과거 이야기하랴 그 주인공이 지금 있는 마을이나 뭐 배경 뭐 그런 거 설명하랴 뭐 앞으로 나올 히로인들 설명하랴 뭐 그렇게 막 한도 끝도 없이 막 설명을 있는 대로 하고 나서 첫 번째 선택지까지 그 뜨는 시간이 솔직히 말해서 8분? 그냥 넘어가요. 그냥 넘어가고 20분 20분 30분 그런 거 기본으로 넘어가거든요. 솔직히 제 체감상으로는 뭐 실제로 아닌 게임도 있을 수 있겠지만 제 체감상으로는 그런 텍스트 노벨들이라거나 그런 것들이 훨씬 더 길었고 그런 상황 스토리텔링이나 그런 거에 제대로 온전히 몰입하지 못하면은 온전히 몰입하라고 그렇게 막 설명이나 그런 걸 길게 하겠지만 만일 플레이하는 사람이 그거에 대해 제대로 몰입을 하지 못한다면은 그거만큼 더 지루한 게 없었어요. 근데 이 게임은 그런 점에서는 진짜 앞부분에 뭐 쓸데없는 사족이 좀 심각하게 많이 붙긴 했어요. 쓸데없는 사족이 심각하게 많이 붙어가지고 이런 건 좀 이야기 안 해도 되지 않나? 주인공이 남주 여주 그 둘 다 이렇게 아침에 일어나가지고 둘 다 이런 부모를 가지고 있고 이러한 상황에 놓여 있구나. 대충 뭐 그러한 공통점까지도 가지고 있고 오히려 그런 점에서 얘네가 뭔가 그 공통점이 있구나. 그리고 얘네 둘이 이렇게 나오는 거 보면은 얘네 둘이 이어지라고 만든 일종의 진짜 이것도 연애 시뮬레이션 그런 걸로 볼 수 있겠구나. 그렇게 생각을 하면서 봤지. 그렇게 생각을 하면서 그냥 B급 감성을 적당히 즐기는 느낌으로 봤지. 뭐 몰입이 방해된다거나 그런 건 딱히 없었던 것 같아요. 뭐 개연성은 그렇고 아니면 일단 그 시작할 때는 좀 그렇고 선택지에 대해서 좀 더워서 그 선풍기 좀 킬게요. 마이크에 좀 자본이 좀 들어갈 수 있어요. 그리고 선택지들에 대해서 선택지 자체들은 뭐 중간에 그 존이 스레시어라는 회사 상사랑 좀 그렇게 갑자기 이어지게 된다거나 뭐 그런 걸 비롯해서 좀 그 스레시어가 그 여주인공 그 제인을 갑자기 칼 칼 들고 막 찔러 죽이려고 그렇게 쫓는 과정에서 뭐 별의별 쓸데없는 것들이 많이 들어갔다거나 뭐 그런 거는 살짝 저도 좀 보면서 어이가 없었고 많이 웃음이 나왔어. 많이 좀 좀 그러긴 했어요. 얘가 아니 도대체 도대체 이런 것들이 왜 넣어놓은 거지? 막 그렇게 좀 웃으면서 보기도 했는데 몰입이 방해됐다거나 뭐 그런 거는 애초에 없었던 것 같아요. 왜냐하면은 그런 것들이 몰입을 방해하는 요소 자체는 맞는데 이게 처음에 시작하는 오프닝이라거나 그런 거부터 완전 너무 어처구니가 없고 너무 싸구려 감성이 나가지고 도저히 그 몰입할 수가 없는 상황이더라고요. 그래서 솔직히 나쁘게 이야기하자면은 애초에 그 진짜 한도 끝도 없이 나쁘게 이야기하자면은 뭐 스토리를 뭐 왜 이렇게 이따구로 짰냐, 등장인물들이 진짜 씬 하나하나가 서로 다르게 행동한다, 뭐 서로 다르게 생각하고 다르게 행동하고 그 다른 결과가 일어난다, 뭐 그리고 그 개연성이 없다, 막 그렇게 있는 대로 나쁘게 욕하려면 나쁘게 욕할 수 있는데 좋게 이야기하자면은 그냥 애초에 그 집중할 수가 없는 그런 개연성이 없는 상황을 얘네가 그 제공을 해줬기 때문에 어떤 결과가 나와도 저는 뭐 놀라지는 않았어요. 어떤 결과가 나와도 아니 얘들 왜 이렇게 행동해 뭐라거나 아 얘는 여기서 이렇게 행동하네 라거나 그렇게 계속 웃으면서 봤지 걔네가 뭐 행동을 한다는 게 그 서로의 그 개연성이 없다는 게 불쾌했다? 이런 느낌은 역으로 게임에 집중할 수 없었기 때문에 그런 불쾌함이 들지 않았다. 이렇게 얘기할 수 있었겠네요. 그리고 3D 그리고 뭐 그렇게 개연성이 없었고 그 얘네도 뭔 개소리를 하는 건지도 모르겠고 중간에 뭐 갑자기 배우들만의 그렇게 이야기만이 아니라 막 감독의 말소리가 들어간다거나 뭐 그런 점들도 있긴 했는데 그런 것들을 감안하더라도 그냥 뭐 웃으면서 싸구려 똥게임 즐기는 느낌을 했다. 뭐 그렇게 이야기할 수 있었고요. 네, 본편에 대한 이야기는 일단 이게 끝입니다. 그리고 본편을 끝내고 나니까 두 번째 메뉴에 뭐야 이름 벌써 까먹었는데 플럼버 더 메이즈 뭐 이런 게 있었죠. 처음에는 그 조작법을 몰랐는데 알고 보니까 그게 일시정지 중에 그렇게 그 조작법이 떴었죠. 근데 뭐 저는 그렇게 그 조작법 안 보고도 어떻게 우연히 알아내가지고 어찌저찌 그 미궁을 탐사하면서 이것저것 히든 콘텐츠를 열었는데 마지막 나머지 두 개를 못 여는 게 좀 한스럽긴 해요. 좀 그거들로 미궁 어딘가에 숨겨져 있을 수도 있고 아니면 제가 그 본편에서 모든 선택지랑 모든 엔딩을 다 봤을 때 해금되지 않을까라는 생각도 들지만 저는 뭐 솔직히 뭐 미연씨를 하더라도 뭐 미연씨를 한다거나 텍스트 노벨을 한다거나 뭐 그렇게 뭐 모든 엔딩을 수집한다, 모든 도전 과제를 깬다, 그런 거는 제가 딱히 관심이 없거든요. 제가 한 게임을 그렇게 오래 붙잡고 있지도 못하고 뭐 그렇게 오래 집중을 하지도 못하고 저는 어느 게임을 하면은 뭐 각자마다 뭐 즐기는 방법이 있겠지만 저는 딱 한번 그 본편을 클리어하고 나서 라이브러리에 고이 모셔두는 게 가장 그 게임을 가장 즐겁게 즐긴 거고 올바른 방법이 아닐까 저는 그렇게 생각을 해가지고 뭐 다른 엔딩을 굳이 찾아볼 생각도 없고 그렇게 했다가는 제가 이렇게 그 재미있게 리뷰하다가도 오히려 이 게임에 좀 반감을 느낄 것 같고요. 이 게임이 그 똥게임이라서 그 반감을 느낀다라기보다는 저는 다른 어떤 게임이라도 만약 누가 억지로 그렇게 시켰으면 저는 그렇게 반감을 느꼈을 거예요. 그래서 솔직히 당장에 예를 들어서 소닉 프론티어의 어나더 스토리 같은 걸 밀 때도 진짜 울며 겨자 먹기로 겨우 그렇게 엔딩 하나 보고 싶어가지고 그렇게 민 거였고, 뭐 그래서 뭐 남은 컷신이라거나 그런 것들은 애초에 이게 이 더 플럼버스 Don't Wear Ties 디피니티브 에디션 이거 자체가 제가 이 영상을 찍으려고 한 거 자체가 한국어로는 아무도 이 디피니티브 에디션 이거 영상을 안 올렸는데 영어로는 짠뜩 있어가지고 그럼 이거 한글로 내가 올리면 내가 1등이네 그런 생각을 해서 그렇게 올리게 된 거지. 뭐 100% 컴플릿 뭐 100% 워크스루 뭐 그런 걸 찍고 싶어가지고 이렇게 한 건 아니었기 때문에 뭐 이렇게 하고요. 그리고 무엇보다 가능하면은 이 영상에서 모든 영상을 담고 싶었는데 제인이 커멘터리 했다거나 그 제작진의 그 커멘터리가 그 담겨 있는 영상 길이가 1시간 10분짜리는 40분짜리 그렇게 합치면 거의 2시간에 그 달하는 분량이라서 지금도 이렇게 그 영상 녹화가 이미 3시간이 다 돼가는데 그것까지 포함시키면 너무 말도 안 될 것 같아서 그건 제가 나중에 따로 보려고 따로 보고 싶기도 하고, 그리고 이 영상에 담기는 너무 길어가지고 그렇게 일부러 뺐으니까 만약 더 찾아보고 싶으시면 영상 직접 그 커멘터리를 듣고 싶으시다면은 외국 유튜버의 그 다른 영상들을 보시거나 아니면은 직접 이 게임을 플레이해서 한번 알아보시는 거를 추천드립니다. 추천이라고 해야 되나? 네, 그 알아보세요. 추천할 만한 게임은 아닌 것 같아요. 그냥 저니까 이렇게 웃으면서 이렇게 리뷰했지. 다른 사람이었으면 솔직히 라이브러리에 있는 것 자체도 굉장한 모욕이 아닐까 그런 생각이 들어요. 그거 말고도 뭐 게임에 대해 다른 이야기를 해보자면은 옵션 보고 솔직히 좀 옵션에서 좀 충격을 먹었어요. 제가 아까도 게임 소리가 살짝 좀 크다 그렇게 이야기를 했었는데 하다못해 게임 볼륨 조절하는 기능이라거나 좀 그런 것 정도는 좀 넣어놨어야 되지 않나. 그 언어 자막 그런 것 대체 그거 다 잉글리시 하나밖에 없을 거면 대체 그 기능을 왜 넣어놓은 건지 그것도 그렇게 왜 띄워놓은 건지 그거에 대해서 솔직히 전 그거 하나가 좀 불쾌했고요. 그거는 진짜 좀 불쾌했어요. 그거 좀 제대로 필요한 볼륨 기능이라거나 좀 뭐 화면 설정이라거나 그런 것보다는 그런 게 없고 도리어 쓸데없는 기능만 있다는 게 전 그게 불쾌했고, 또 진지하게 불쾌했던 거라고 한다면은 스팀에 안 내놓은 거. 왜 그 스팀에 안 내놓고 여기 그 GOG에만 이렇게 내놔가지고 내가 이렇게 그 GOG로 따로 해외 결제를 해가면서까지 이렇게 구매를 했어야 되는지, 응? 그 스팀에 내놨으면은 그냥 다들 그냥 미친놈들이 한 번쯤은 이렇게 구매했을 텐데, 구매해서 더 많이 즐겼을 텐데 이거 GOG에 이렇게 해놓으니까 접근성이 떨어지잖아. 접근성이 떨어져가지고 좀 뭐 저 같은 경우는 뭐 여러 게임 사이트나 게임 플랫폼 좀 많이 쓰기 때문에 어떻게 무리 없이 구할 수 있었는데, 솔직히 좀 스팀에도 디피니티브 에디션이라고 내놓으면서 좀 스팀에도 좀 같이 내놨어야 되지 않았을까, 그런 아쉬움과 불만이 좀 심하게 남습니다. 그거 말고는 지금까지 이야기한 거 말고는 뭐 더 없는 것 같아요. 더 없는 것 같고, 네, 그럼 이걸로 그 플럼버스 그 배관공은 그 넥타이를 매지 않는다 디피니티브 에디션 그 플레이 영상을 마치도록 하겠습니다. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다.